Judicial Manager of CLECO Guyana, Maria Van Beek, says the relocation and dismissal of CLECO staffers is part of a cost-cutting initiative that will promote the effective operation of the company.
President Barjaglia says some CARICOM leaders are window shopping on elements of the CARICOM single market and economy.
And a Guyanese delegation led by the President will depart for a 10-day official visit to the Middle East tomorrow.
And of course, we will bring you the latest sporting action in the Diamond Mineral Water and NCN Sport News. Hello, good evening. I am Janelle Prasad.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Thursday, March 19, 2009. Here's what's happening. Paul?
Thanks, Janelle. President Barjaglia says some CARICOM leaders are window shopping on elements of the CARICOM single market and economy. The president at a media conference today said some leaders are willing to go with elements that are in their favor but seek to reassess others. Edward Lane reports.
President Barjaglia says the recently concluded Heads of Government Conference in Belize has been successful with many positive decisions coming out in a number of areas.
Information, communication, technology, as a platform for productivity in all the sectors of the economy, as well as a means of creating jobs in the sector itself.
He says that there were strong commitments on the CARICOM single market and economy after lengthy debates, since some leaders requested that provisions be reassessed and the period of implementation be extended.
So I'm very reluctant to have this CSME truncated in little bits and people starting to window shop which part they want and which they don't want.
The President has expressed satisfaction with the move to place the Caribbean Regional Negotiating Machinery under the CARICOM Secretariat. He notes that this will allow for greater scrutiny in future negotiations.
This is very important for me. I've made it clear that a stable institution such as the CARICOM Secretariat could provide the necessary oversight for the RNM.
The President was the most vocal critic of the body following the conclusion of the Economic Partnership Agreement negotiations with Europe last year. He had made it clear that the CRNM will not negotiate for Guyana at the upcoming CARICOM Canada trade talks, a position he has since changed after the recent move to place the body under the CARICOM Secretariat. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Judicial Manager of CLECO Guyana, Maria Van Beek, says the relocation and dismissal of CLECO staffers are part of a cost-cutting initiative given the company's financial standing. The Judicial Manager says, as a result, some 43 staff will be affected. Here are details.
The newly appointed Judicial Manager of CLECO Guyana says since the company can no longer issue any new insurance contract or renew existing policies, it is in their best interest to cut staff. Van Beek says this has reduced the amount of monies available to effectively conduct the operation of the company. As a result, several sales, part-time and contract employees have been relocated, while others have seen their services severed.
In total, it is expected that some 43 staff will be affected by this cost-saving measure. Closure of the sales offices will affect those agents currently located there. Arrangements have been made for these agents to relocate to other offices. This latest cost-saving measure is in keeping with Section 71 of the Insurance Act, 1998, which requires that I carry out my function with the greatest possible economy.
The Commission of Insurance indicated that the company is not in liquidation as this is not ordered by the court. President Barjaglia has supported the position taken by the company, claiming it is a logical thing to do.
They have to cut the wage bill to ensure that this entity, as we move forward, is managed on a shoestring budget so that more of its money could go to the policy holders rather than for administrative purposes. So I think those were the reasons driving the reduction in staff.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to guaranteeing the safety of policyholders. In light of the current situation, insurance companies have been calling for monitoring mechanisms to be put in place. The head of state says he is pleased that the sector feels that way since CARICOM heads have also agreed on this.
I hope that as we start discussing the provisions of the future regulations, that we don't hear from them that this is not going to be supportive of their business environment.
Clico Guyana slipped into difficulty after Clico Bahamas, who holds 53% of the local subsidiary, became affected by the global credit crunch. Onika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.
President Barry Jagdeo will depart for a 10-day official visit to the Middle East tomorrow. The head of state says this is intended to pursue a number of investment opportunities since many past projects were put on hold due to the financial crisis. Edward Lane reports.
President Barry Jagdeo will be visiting 6 Middle Eastern countries over a 10-day period to discuss possible avenues for investment. This is necessary since traditional investors in the North American and Europe have been holding back in light of the global financial meltdown. During the course of the visit, he will also be participating in a conference of Arab and Latin leaders in Qatar.
The purpose of the visit, as you know, and all official visits are to improve, would be to improve relations between our countries, Middle East and Guyana. But more importantly, as I mentioned publicly on several occasions, we have to open up new frontiers for investments and markets.
Mr. Jagdeo adds that Guyana has been focusing on investment from emerging economies like India, China and Brazil, but with the deepening of the global credit crunch and some nations holding back, many countries in the Middle East are taking up opportunities for investment. The President anticipates the Middle East interest will be in the areas of agriculture, value-added forestry products and mining.
These 3 areas at this point in time seem to be major areas where we may be able to attract large-scale investment.
However, discussions will not exclude other areas of investment. The President is also scheduled to sign a double taxation treaty with Qatar. The Guyanese leader in January visited Libya and Greece, where he held similar discussions. In turn, a Libyan delegation came here last month to explore potential investment opportunities. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.